Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inside Denago. I would like to introduce you to Jason McCreary, the owner of Wolfpack Powersports, located in beautiful Moses Lake, Washington. Wolfpack has been in business for 8 years, selling brands such as CF Moto, KO, SSR, and Denago Powersports. Hello, Jason, and again, welcome to Inside Denago podcast.
Hi, David. We actually got a little guest on our end that wants to come say hi real quick, if you don't mind.
Of course. Let him come in.
All right. So this is Wolfie, our mascot. So
Oh, very cool. Very
he
cool.
takes
Hello, Wolfie.
photos with our picture, jumps some machines out there. He's a pretty cool mascot.
I
Uh,
would say definitely. Hello,
I,
Wolfie, and we'll see you hopefully later on.
yes.
All right. So a little bit background on Moses Lake, Washington. Moses Lake has a population of 26,000 people. It's located in Grant County, around 2.5 hours from Seattle, Washington. The state of Washington is located in the northwest region of the United States, sharing a border with Canada. Washington State is known for its rugged coastline and its beautiful rainforest. Wolfpack Powersports has been a Denago Powersports dealer since August of 2024, about a year now, with great success, selling quite a bit of Denago vehicles. So, hello again, Jason, and thank you so much for being a Denago Powersports dealer.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me. And just a quick fun fact about Moses Lake was Evil Knievel actually owned a dealership here in the 1960s. It was a Honda dealership down on Third Avenue. And in 1965, he performed his first public stunt where he jumped over a crate of rattlesnakes and a mountain lion. So we here at Wolfpack Powersports, even though we got a wolf in our name, are not that brave. And I'm not even sure where you get a mountain lion to jump over, but he did. Kind of a cool little
That's
history in the motorcycle industry here in Moses Lake.
that is very cool history, and I mean, it doesn't get any more cooler than Evil Knievel, right? That
Evil,
is
yeah,
the guy.
for the crop when it comes to that.
That's right. That's right. He is as cool as it gets. So for sure. And thank you so much for sharing that little bit of history on Moses Lake and your obviously your region.
Absolutely.
So obviously you've been in business since 2017. And what kind of how did you get started in this business?
Well, it's kind of a neat story, and I call it partly chance and partly serendipity. But we started life as a used car dealership, and once a month up at the auto auction, they would have a power sports run. And in this power sports run was a 2015, so a couple-year old at the time, CF Moto side by side. And I didn't know anything about CF Moto. I knew very little about side by sides, but I thought, shoot, it looks pretty cool. It ran right, so I was willing to kind of roll the dice and take a chance on it for personal use. And
Yeah.
I got to go, shoot, this thing's kind of cool. It had power steering, it was comfortable, it was four-wheel drive. And then me kind of not knowing anything about the machines at the time, I broke it.
Hmm.
So it wasn't shift on the fly four-wheel drive. So I was treating it like a pickup. You just push a
Yeah.
button on it. Well, I ended up breaking the front diff. So we contacted a dealer in Spokane, ordered the part. It was quick. It was easy. We got it down here. And then my mind started to go, shoot, we could sell these. I did a little more research on the company, and CF Moto by that point, by rule, was only signing up currently franchised dealerships.
Hmm.
So I wrote him a couple times, finally got a hold of Bruce Galvin, the rep with CF Moto. He said, hey, we're only signing franchised dealerships. But he agreed to actually come up and meet with us in person. So we sat down, we talked for quite a long time, and he decided to give us a chance with it. And on his recommendation, we were able to pick up the franchise of CF Moto. And so we've got to grow, with them. We started out. I think we had $63,000 worth of inventory, and now at any one point, I mean, we could have north of $800,000 worth of CF Motos on the ground. So we kind of got to grow together. So I know some of the growing pains they had on the back end, and yeah, it just opened up a huge opportunity. And then a few years ago, we decided just to focus on power sports and 86 the cars. and we did that through COVID. Used car prices had skyrocketed, so it kind of was a good out, and
Sure,
just to focus
sure.
on the power sports now.
Nice. Yeah, and believe it or not, a lot of our power sports dealers that we run into and we sign up and we ask what their history is, they'll have a very modest beginning, just like yourself, from the used car industry. So it's always been a very good transition for those type of dealers because they understand and they also have that basis within their community with customers and being familiar with how to take care of customers, and their customers are familiar with coming to them and saying, hey, this is a reputable business that we can do business with. So yeah, for sure, that's definitely great. And as far as CF Moto, an amazing company, right? And I mean, look at what they've done, especially in the last 5 years. I mean, just amazing growth and an amazing product. Yeah, I truly, they are an inspirational company too. I think for any startup, for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. They've been a good. We've gone through other OEMs over the years, and we've 86 some that they did not give us the ability to take care of our uh, customers. So even in the short year we've been with you guys, we've sold quite a few Denagos, and in every aspect, have been able to take care of our customers with your guys' help. So, I mean, it's a huge, huge plus for us.
Yeah, that is always been the foundation for Denago Powersports, is making sure that we take care of our consumers and we take care of our dealers in every way. And as I said before the podcast, of course that's an expensive venture. It's not the cheap way of doing things, but you have to do the right thing. And the right thing is to take care of the customer, no matter if it's expensive or cheap. And so yeah, we pride on that, and that's always going to be what we're going to do from day one till the end. Take care of our dealers, take care of our customers. Support is everything in this business because, just like you said, there's been plenty of companies who've come and gone and they haven't understood that aspect of customer service and parts and taking care of their dealers. So yeah, we learned from those people as well, for sure. So now, with that being said, definitely your when I look at your website, and like you also said, you have a lot of CF Moto product and also some other brands. How many people do you currently employ at Wolfpack?
I got two guys up front with me, and I got
Mhm.
two shop. So there's four of us.
Oh,
Well, five,
very nice,
but I'm
very
I'm here
nice.
basis.
Oh, that's very cool, Jason. That's
Yeah, so
very cool.
we're not a huge dealership by any means, but we do a decent amount of volume out of here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we could definitely see the volume that you guys are doing for sure. And I would say that it's not really about the size of how many people that you have. It's about really the level of service you give to your customers, right? And
Absolutely.
sometimes we notice that those smaller to medium sized dealers do actually a pretty good job because they can concentrate on a specific one or two brands versus a huge multi-line dealer that has got so much product, so many different um, variations of the product, and so many different brands. And the salespeople are not trained properly on those different brands because there's just so many to carry. So for me personally, I like the small size and medium size dealers the most because I feel like the customers definitely can get the best shopping experience when it comes to those dealerships, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I always tell the guys we pride ourselves on being right sized.
Yeah, yeah, that's a that's a great analogy there. The right size, and it's
Mhm.
true. It's true. And I think what it also that kind of translates to is that if you have a consumer who comes and buys a product from you, and later on, let's say 2 years down the road, when their child is a little bigger, or if they want to upgrade to something, and they come back and they see that same salesperson who's there, and that same service people who are still there, I think it makes the customer feel better and more comfortable about their buying experience.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because last week, I guess sometimes when you see things on a daily basis, you don't really think about it. But it was last week a customer come in and he hadn't been in here in years, and he goes, "Yeah, I recognize everybody," and that he was so shocked by that. He said, "You have all the same people." I thought, yeah, we think we do. And that's really cool. But it took because I see these guys on a daily basis, and we know each other well. We hang out afterwards, so it doesn't. It took a customer just pointing that out, and yeah, he was so excited about that. Just to see the same people that came in.
For sure, the familiarity of going into some place that they know you and you know them, it's always helpful. I like that too. It's like, in a car dealership experience, right? Every time you go into a car dealership to take your car in for service, it's always a different service writer, it's always a different person. And it's just like, why do these people are leaving, So it
Yeah,
makes you think those things.
not a revolving door.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Now, with that being said, how big is your location, Jason?
We're the total property is probably sitting on an acre, maybe an acre and a quarter. The
Wow.
building maybe 14,000 square foot. So it's a fairly large building. It's split
Yeah.
equally between the shop and the sales side.
Yeah. Wow, that's pretty big. That's pretty big. That's not small.
It makes us thankful when we get to talk to some of the delivery drivers, and they talk about, especially in big metropolitan areas, uh, how hard and difficult it is to get into dealerships. And we got, right next to us is a huge Cenex, so there's a big turnaround, super easy, big roll up door. So yeah, there's a lot of things that we take for granted that are
Yeah.
brought to our attention. Even the delivery drivers, how they just appreciate the openness of it.
Of course, and I think for a consumer too to walk into a big location that you could see it's a big location, it's got plenty of inventory, it's got plenty of area for service. I think it ensures the customer to making that hey, this is the right location where I want to purchase product from, and it gives the customer a lot of options and variety. And I always appreciate that as a consumer. So yeah, it's important to have a decent sized location like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess another question I had for you is kind of because you've been in business for quite a bit of years now, what kind of makes you different from your competitors or the people that you've seen kind of come and go dealership wise?
So I think one thing that I'm proud of that we do is you'll deal with the same person from start to finish. So the same person that greets you on the lot, figures out what machine is the right one for you, negotiates with you on price, helps with financing, does your paperwork, completes the delivery process. We have one person. It's the same person
Nice.
that takes you through the whole process. You're not getting handed off to a finance room back in the corner, off to another person, off to another
Yeah.
person. And our size makes that possible. And back same thing in the service department. Having two guys, the guy that checks you in, the guy that you directly tell what's going on with your machine, is most likely the guy that's going to be fixing it. I mean, so
That's right.
nothing's lost in translation. Nothing's lost. And I know maybe someday we'll outgrow and have to adapt beyond that, but for right now, it's working, and it's working well for us. And I just think that gives us the ability from start to finish to stay with the customer. Uh, for the most part. I mean, because you build trust, you build rapport, all of that's taken care of.
It's a very important thing, Jason, having that, again, that consumer confidence, right? And having that ability that, hey, if a consumer comes back, and let's say if they have an issue, a question about their financing, or they have a question about some features, maybe the vehicle's not in and you order it for them, right? And that consumer always having the one point of contact, it's always so easy to deal with one person where it's like, oh yeah, I sold you this vehicle, but you can't talk to me about financing. I got to send you to the financing department, and this person's here, this person's there. Yeah, so I know exactly
Yeah,
what you're talking about.
yeah, getting the runaround sometimes at different
Oh
departments,
yeah.
different in charge of different things, and it's worked out well for us. We have a huge closing ratio on like extended warranties. When I was talking to our CF Moto rep, he said he was shocked by it when he ran the numbers. He said and we're not the largest CF Moto dealer in the area. Out of 30 dealers, we typically hover right around number seven.
Hmm.
But we put out more warranties, more CF Moto warranties than he said almost all of his other dealers combined.
Wow.
I mean, so
Wow.
we have a huge, because we believe in them. They work. They're reasonably priced, and I think part of that is the trust that you gain from start to finish, because that's a whole nother hurdle is getting somebody to appreciate the value in an extended service contract. Um,
Absolutely.
and so that rapport is built with the customer because you're there from the meet and greet till the final sign off on the taking home their new machine.
Absolutely. And I think, with a brand like CF Moto or Denago, right? We're not really legacy brands. We're not like Honda, Yamaha, where we've been around for 30 plus years. CF Moto is close to 20 years now, I think, give or take. But and I think it's very important for a consumer to have confidence in a vehicle. And I think it, by you guys selling that extended warranty gives the consumer that extra level of confidence and saying that, hey, if something was to ever break, that's maybe not typically covered by a warranty or after the warranty fact, you have this extended warranty, bring it in to us, we'll take care of it, no issues, everything's covered, don't have to worry about it. I believe in that. I truly
Yeah,
believe in that.
and we've sold enough that we know that they work. So it's
Oh
not
yeah,
like a third party company you got to chase around the bush, and because we're
for
too
sure.
small to, and it doesn't work. I mean, they can
Yeah,
come yell at me. I mean,
I,
I'm here. I'm right here.
yeah,
I'm tucked in an office right now, and it doesn't feel right because normally my desk is out front and center in everything. So I feel kind of tucked away right now, but it's it's well
yeah,
worth it. So I mean, I can see a lot of similarities. With just because you can tell a lot by a company's rep and how they
sure,
handle dealerships. So when I first started off, I relied heavily because I had no experience in the power sports industry,
sure.
zero. So I relied heavily on Bruce's guidance, and I did that for years. And sometimes he would tell me things, and my mind would go, "That
Hmm.
doesn't make sense to me," but I would do it, and I would listen, and lo and behold, it worked. And then pretty soon enough, years under my belt, I start to notice my own trends, my own thing. But I never realized how much I used him as sort of a mentor through the industry. And he's since passed away here, kind of unexpectedly within the
Mm.
last year. Um,
Ouch.
but now I find myself doing what Steve, our rep, has a huge amount of knowledge in the industry. So even we've been a power sports dealer since 2017, but I'm not so arrogant to think that I got it all figured out. So
Sure.
there was things I'd never seen that many of us had never. I mean, through COVID, I mean, these tariff things. I mean, there was things that we just had to endure and survive and figure out and adapt to. And that's another thing that makes us a little bit different. When I say right sized, that means if I have an idea at 6 a.m. in the morning, I can tell the guys at our morning meeting, and by opening business that day, it's implemented. And that's pricing strategies, product, I mean, how we display things from start to finish, everything. We can implement and change and pivot as needed. Uh, and I just want to share a story with Steve real quick, and you may not know this, but so I spent a decent amount of time talking to our reps and just kind of feeling them out and with the
Sure.
industry and just trying to pick their brain, gain more knowledge, all that stuff. And just one day I was driving in. I live about 40 minutes away from the dealership. I was telling, hey Steve, we're doing a fundraiser today. And it was for a local animal rescue. Did a big barbecue. Was advertised, and we were providing you were accepting donations on their behalf, and we were providing matching funds up to
Hmm.
$500.
Wow.
And Steve, with that, and I wasn't telling him that for anything. I was just talking about how the day was going to go. And he said, "Well, I want to donate $500." So he committed to $500. So I go,
Wow.
shoot, if he's going to donate that, just like that. So it got me to up my thinking. So we upped our matching to 1,000, and we were able to put like $3,300 together. For Days of Camelot, which is a local animal um, sanctuary. But it was really cool. I mean, talk about feeling supported, by a company for a rep to pull his own money to donate to a cause that's important to us, that was important to him. And it was centered around um, when we kind of tied it in with our opening of Denago. We
Hmm.
devoted a little area we made real nice in the kind of our Denago show area. So we kind of spotlighted that around with the barbecue and for the animal rescue, and it was just really cool, and I appreciated him doing that.
Yeah, I could tell you some of our, of course, most of our viewers may not know Steve Christian, our Northwest regional sales manager, and Steve Christian, he's close to the retirement age, so he's been in the business for a long, long time. And Steve Christian, he's a very professional guy. Like, I got introduced to Steve Christian from Johnny Hayes, our national sales manager, and he was like, "Hey, man, you should talk to this guy." So we interviewed him, and then Steve was nice enough to come down to for the Sand Show here in Costa Mesa. And I started talking to him. And the more I started talking to him, I just realized how much experience Steve has in the industry and how professional he is. He's a very, very professional guy, just crosses every T and dots every I. It's like, he's just one of those guys, and he's a down to earth guy. He's a good family man, and so I'm not surprised that he did something special like that.
Yeah, and he's just proximity wise. I mean, he's an hour and a half, 2 hours away from our dealership. So when he first came in to introduce himself, at first I'm thinking, oh man, here's a credit card processing company or somebody's in trying to get me something. So he says, I'm representing Denago, shows me the product, and then he got me with, I have some with me. Well,
Sure.
shoot, let's go see him. So we go and see him. He tells me the price. I have the shop guys look at him, take him apart. I go, shoot, this is better and less expensive than what we're selling. And I started to sign up. I mean, I knew to sign up right on the spot. So we got the ball rolling, and the first 30 days we were with you guys. We had I actually hid the Denago stuff in the shop until we could sell through some of the other
Older
stuff on the
stuff.
floor. Yeah, because it would just it, they would not sell next to each other. I thought if I had both these out there with the price, they would not sell next to it. Yours would dominate the other one.
The
So
other
yeah,
ones, and he was stuck with the other ones. Yeah.
yeah, huge
Yeah.
huge sales. We blew them out, and I knew I was onto something good because it wasn't literally minutes. He took a picture of us out there. You guys got it on your social media, and it was minutes that I got a call from the other company's sales rep, and they were pissed. I mean, because in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, we're adding two. We can,
Yeah.
but they were
Yeah.
absolutely just pissed, and I didn't even know it because they didn't recognize anything like you guys did with volume. But I didn't realize we were their top dealer. Also, I didn't realize it
Oh.
until after the fact that they told me. And you mentioned something that I agree with, that sometimes it costs a lot of money to do the right thing, and so it's nice for me to feel supported by you guys, Denago, because the other brand, when the rep was pissed on the phone, he told me, he said, I need a dealer in the area that's going to represent the brand, and this kind of it set me off
Yeah.
because we not only represented the brand out of selling hundreds of their machines, we never got paid for a single labor claim, not
Wow.
one.
That's
We ate
terrible.
all of them.
Wow.
And on their carbureted models, we spent the money to buy aftermarket carburetors to put on their machines to give the
Wow.
customers a good ownership out of pocket.
Well, I mean, I can't speak for the other brand, but I can just speak for our brand and yourself. And I could say that that's a very stand-up thing you did, taking care of your customers. Because what happens is, especially in a smaller community, right? Um,
Mhm.
you go to the grocery store, you see these people. You go to the gym, you see these people, and it's like, oh, am I going to hide from these people, or I'm going to actually talk to them and see how they're doing? So if they've had a bad experience with you and your product, guess what? They're going to let you know. They're not going to be that happy
Absolutely.
with you. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. So,
Absolutely. So we have
so
not, even on the few carbureted models Denago has, they're just dialed in. They run as they should. There's no major modifications that we have to do on our end to give
well,
somebody a customer experience.
we're working on that. We're working on that. Obviously, as you know, carburetor is kind of like that, the last hurrah for the carburetor. And
Yeah.
for us, obviously, it's no secret because we said it at Ames and we showed it at Ames. Our dirt bikes are coming, and those will be fuel injection. So that's coming here pretty shortly, and it's going to be here new. I'll say it to everybody. They're not just going to be what we showed at Ames. They're actually completely redesigned from the ground up. So what you will see is not just the current dirt bikes that we have. They're going to be completely new model. So that's coming up here pretty soon. And also that one ATV that we have left, the Mudhawk 6, that soon will be FI as well. So we're completely phasing out the carbureted stuff. And of course, we knew as a manufacturer carbureted was the way to go, but we didn't kind of know that if the fuel injection systems that we were using, the consumers were going to be happy with. Because there's some of these consumers that are like, hey, you know what, I'm familiar with the carburetor. If I want to open it up, if I want to clean it, if I want to replace it, I know how to work on these things. But fuel injection, it's I have to connect a scanner to it, or I have to take it to a dealer, or whatever it may be. So we didn't know how the adaptation was going to be with the consumers. But it seems like, just like what you said and what we have experienced from consumers and dealers on our end, that it's pretty good. I mean, the system's working fine. And I mean, warranty wise, we would look at warranty, carburation versus fuel injection. It's very minor, the amount of warranty that we see on in emissions parts like fuel injectors and throttle position sensors, O2 sensors. They pretty much don't break. So versus a carburetor, if a consumer was kind of new to the industry and didn't know how to drain the carburetor after usage, or didn't put fuel stabilizer, they would clog up the jets. And this is not just Denago, this is industry
Oh,
wide, right? Yeah, all of them are the same. And so it would just happen, and it would lead to a bad customer experience. And again, that was just information, informing the customer what needs to be done, but it was an extra step that the customer now doesn't have to take, and it makes the process of riding and using these vehicles a lot more pleasurable.
yeah,
So
I can tell you from our perspective, 100% of the time, no customer has ever came in and goes, "Man, I wish that fuel injected rig was carbureted."
yeah,
But
yeah,
so many times they go, "I wish that carbureted rig was fuel injected."
fuel
I mean,
injected.
100. It's not even like 199 and one. It is 100% of the
Yeah,
time. Because a lot of these are entry level customers. They're not long. They're not long time riders. This is
sure.
first time in, first time purchase, and fuel inject. Even from my standpoint, sometimes if we'd have a carbureted rig sitting on the showroom for a
Yeah,
couple weeks or a month or something, then somebody's looking to buy it or demo it and go to fire it up, and my heart would go, I hope it start. I hope it
I
just
hope
fire
it
up,
starts.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, fire up as it should. And the fuel injected, so turn the key, boom, done. I
gone.
mean, it's just so much easier, so much easier.
Yeah, and I mean, even like the aspect of, besides service, just actually running the vehicle, right? Having to set the choke and when to put the choke in. It was just an extra level of like inconvenience to the customer, and the fuel injection is just taking care of that. And I mean, for the small amount of money difference that fuel injection brings versus carburetor, I think it's a no-brainer. Even the consumers see that too right away.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
for sure, for sure. So now another question I had for you is, since you've been in business since 2017, obviously you've seen a few things change. And I wanted to know, what have you seen that's kind of changed since you started till now? Where is the industry going, and what are the consumers telling you, and what do you see as far as consumer needs?
So I think you'll see some of the big players get smaller, and some of the smaller players get bigger. And a lot of that is just a lot of the big boys just didn't seem to innovate ATVs
Yeah,
at all. The design, if you look at something from 2001, it mirrored really close to what a 2025, and the only thing that changed was the
yeah,
price. So I noticed that with CF Moto along, they're constantly evolving. Once the side by sides became popular, it's like some people just forgot ATVs existed.
yeah.
CF Moto did not, and they grew. And I know their sales have eclipsed some of the main players
OEMs.
now in the market. And I would say that's because of innovation. So they're losing market share, and it's going somewhere. So I see that you guys, I mean, as far as us, you guys have dethroned, two brands that we used to
Okay.
sell here, and it's because of price point and innovation. I mean, if they were cheaper, uh, you know, uh, and worse, maybe that would sell. But you guys are less expensive and better. I mean, those
Yeah.
are they wouldn't sell next to each other. They just would not sell next to each other. You guys would knock it out of the park. And I know that's probably a huge capital expenditure to be able to gain market share like that and quickly. I mean, it's nothing's cheap.
Nothing's cheap. And I mean, for us, what we noticed is, like, for example, I'm going to say, for example, Yamaha, right? I'm a huge ATV guy. I loved ATVs. I love riding ATVs. I was one of the last one out of my group of friends who actually purchased an ATV because I didn't want a side by side. I really didn't want it. And the only reason why I bought a side by side, which I've mentioned several times in the podcast before, which is peer pressure. All my friends got side by side. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get a side by side. But someone like Yamaha, right, who had back in the days had a Raptor 50, had a Raptor 90. They still have those, right? But then they had the Raptor 125, they had the Raptor 250, they had the Raptor 350. So they had those really, really, really good ATVs who customers loved. They were amazing. But now, if you look at the Yamaha lineup, they don't have much. They only just have like a 50 and a 90, and then it goes to like a 450 and the 700, which the 700 is a king of all sport ATVs, and they haven't changed the 700 much because obviously it's not broken, so they're not going to fix it. But those smaller ATVs that the kids love, they're gone. So what are the kids wanting to ride? The kids got to ride too. A kid can't get in. A teenager can't get in a side by side and ride it, and it's so expensive as well. And most families can't afford it or don't have the space for three side by sides. So it's like it's one of those things that we felt like ATVs definitely have a place, and we have to make the ATV better and make it more affordable for our consumers. So that's what we did. And, that kind of follows in our whole model lineup, right? So, like, for example, we have anywhere from starting from the 110, which is the Mudhawk 6, then the 120. Then we have from the 120, it goes to the 200 and then 300. And then then we have some middle displacements coming up in between all those as well in the coming future here in 2026. But also, like for example, like our new Freelander 550 that's gonna come up, 500 550 that's coming up, that medium displacement we call it. Okay, that's another value line vehicle that's gonna come up, and that's gonna be loaded with features just like the rest of our models are. And it goes back to the point that you're saying that, hey, you know what, the price of our vehicles are more affordable than the competitors, and yet it's got more features and it's more affordable for the more attractive for the consumer to see these vehicles and say, okay, you know what, uh, it's a no-brainer.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And just from a personal standpoint, I mean, I grew up with a single mom, so money was always tight.
Yeah,
So we didn't have a lot of these dirt bikes, and so it's nice for me to be able to carry a brand that you can outfit an entire family, for less money than what they could go out and buy one of the competitors' ATVs, and almost without fail, when I'm showing somebody a machine, and then I tell them the price, they're surprised how low it is.
yeah.
Not the opposite. Normally people are a little shocked when you tell them the price, how high it is, but they have all been so pleasantly surprised with the price you pay for what you get. I
What you
mean, it's
get,
it's a
yeah.
crazy good value.
Yeah. When it comes to the smaller ATVs and actually everything in our lineup, for me, I spent a good amount of time figuring out what consumers want in a vehicle. And I try to give them more than a consumer can kind of want. So like when you look at one of our ATVs, like let's say the Mudhawk sixes or the Trailhawks or whatever, I call it a cohesive product. And what I mean by that is when you look at the hardware, when you look at the back end of it, it's not several different colors. It's one color, right? It's got the black hardware package. It's got black axle. It's got black hubs, black lug nuts. So it's like all of it is just cohesive product. And then it's got nice decals, nice colors, different colors, more colors than other manufacturers, OEMs offer. So I tried to ensue and make the consumer understand that, hey, there's someone behind this product that was thinking about you, your needs, and the value that we're putting into these vehicles. So that was the kind of the idea behind me designing these vehicles and offering it to our consumers and our dealers.
And even having the greasable fittings, I mean,
Oh
is a
yeah,
is a huge. I mean, it's a huge deal just for the longevity. I mean, just the thought
absolutely.
uh, to some of the
You know,
details not on other vehicles.
Absolutely. And Jason, I come from the service side of things. So I went to college for automotive service. So I worked before, prior to my power sports industry, I worked in the automotive dealer environment. So I was working on cars for a long time. not terribly long, but long time. And I always had an inspiration and a love for cars, and I even built my own race car. But the whole point was I came from that aspect of it because I wanted our vehicles to be serviceable. I wanted them to be easily serviceable. You know, like one thing a lot of people may not know, like you said, grease zerks, right? Majority of our vehicles, actually all of our ATVs, have a greasable zerk on the steering stem. It's a little hard to get to because the fairing is in the way, or the uh, gas tank might be in the way, but there is a grease zerk there, and so it makes it really easy. You don't have to pull a lot of the components away to get some grease in there, so your steering is the way it's supposed to be, nice and loose and smooth. So yeah, that was a lot of intent, that a lot of ideas I put into these vehicles to make it easily serviceable. Even like, I'll give you an example. Like for example, like the fuel injection relay and also the fuel pump relay. Our first models, when we first came out with them, they were kind of tucked behind the body, and they were kind of difficult to access, you know. And I said, no, that can't be right. So the conversations I had with our engineers, I said, you know, we need to move these solenoids to a place where it's much more accessible. So now, if you look at our vehicles, if you lift up the seat, usually the solenoid is right there. Those two solenoids are right, excuse me, those two solenoids are right there, very easily to be accessible to the consumer and the service people. You don't have to go searching for it, because obviously solenoids tend to go bad, and it happens. So why not make it easier for the consumer and the service person to get access to it? So I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's noticeable, and I think a lot of I think a lot of people underestimate the power of people in the shop. So my main guy up front with me started life in the shop,
Hmm.
and so now he's up front, and you know, I rely on him on tons of stuff. He's good with people, has that kind of technical instincts
Oh, that's
that I don't have. I don't possess it. You know, so we I know what things work and what things don't work, but I don't
sure,
necessarily know how they work or why they work.
sure,
But it works out. It works out perfect. So yeah,
yeah,
we appreciate. I mean, in fact, he got promoted one day. He played a trick on me. I'd bought in a years ago. I'd bought in a truck at the auto auction for myself, and it only had like 300 miles on it, but it was a Canadian rig that came down, so it didn't have any United States warranty.
hmm,
So he takes it back and we just do an oil change on it. Well, he found some like metal shavings and he calls me back. He goes, "Man, this is in your oil." So he played a. I'm like, "Oh crap! What am I gonna do?" You just dump all this money on the truck and it's got a toasted
sure,
motor, and yeah. So I knew at that point, I'm like, "Oh, you might have a little sales skill in you." So
that's right.
yeah, see, I think his body appreciates it a little more up front than in the back
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
time. But
for sure.
absolutely,
And
just a fun
and
little
you know,
story.
this is a great section actually to segue to my next question, which is, how important is it for a dealership to have a good service department?
Oh, you don't have a dealership without a service department. You don't have one because your reputation will go to crap. And I mean, being in a small community, we're not, you know, we don't have a pool the size of an ocean to
Yeah,
pull from. So a lot of times we're having repeat customers, their family, their friends, people know each other. Uh, so yeah, we you absolutely have to. That's why when it came down to it, we had to pay the money to replace the carbs on some different machines. We just did it, you know, because it was the right thing to do, and it ultimately gave them a better ownership experience. And so when they got pissed that we started carrying your guys's, I was really, I mean, I was upset that they told me that they needed a dealership to represent their brand in the area, and I was just pissed. I was just because I knew what we did to represent the brand, because you can't separate them. If we sell it, it's us. I mean, we you can't separate the two. So it was just, it irritated me, and you know, they were just acting out of anger,
yeah.
and yeah, they even cut us off from being able to order parts and anything. You know,
Ouch.
take care of customers, and so now we're having to source different areas and
That's
trying to
terrible.
get creative with it, and yeah, they're just acting
You
out of
know,
anger.
I can tell you, Jason, actually, believe it or not, I believe you had reached out to Steve and told him that. And I believe I was overseas. I believe I was at the factory in China. And Steve had sent me the text, the one he had received. So I went ahead and I was talking to our CEO at the time. He was over there too. And we kind of had a good laugh about that. And I said, you know, we're just a tiny little company. Why are they so afraid of us? You know, we're
Yeah,
just starting out, you know?
yeah,
So
operating in anger, and I mean, it was almost a yelling match on the phone.
that's terrible.
Happened. That's not. I mean, that's ultimately not what you want, but you get pushed far enough, and that's just what happens
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. Of course, for sure. So I guess to wrap things up here a little bit, I wanted to also ask you, because obviously you've been in business for a long period of time, what would you recommend to someone that is thinking about opening up a power sports dealership and is new to the industry? What suggestions would you have for them?
I guess do your research and be careful because we've picked up three or four different lines over the years that just did not work out, and most of the time the product was good. It's just getting parts, warranty, service, stuff like that, and going through COVID, it kind of put everybody in a little predicament because you had to have stuff to sell and
Sure,
stay in business. And I think I would recommend to research your companies, and I think a lot of those companies they spend too much time beating their chest, thinking how good they
hmm.
are. When through COVID there was a real artificial bump in the
Oh
economy. There
yeah,
was
oh
there was
yeah,
an artificial bump in demand, and pretty much anybody with a physical product to sell was selling 3 to 5 times normal what they did. We did, everybody did,
yep,
and I think you could tell the companies that let that go to their head when they're selling 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 times what they normally did, and then they got to the mindset that we have it that they thought it was something unique or different that they did, and now they're paying the price for it by not keeping up with trends, by not adapting, by not servicing the vehicles, by not having a good back end warranty department. And CF Moto never did that. They stayed consistent
sure,
throughout the entire thing. So we've had them since day one. Um, so it was difficult to and it was an expensive lesson to go through the other because it costs money to get set up with people, and then when it's not working, and that's part of the benefit. We're right. I there's not a board of directors. I don't have investors.
that's
We
right.
just guys and go, shit, this isn't working. We're gonna have to drop them. And so
Yeah,
we would stay on a dealer, for a couple years, and just enough to be able to get parts and keep people on the road.
sure.
Uh, but so my suggestion was just be very careful who you partner up with.
Sure. Yeah, that's great. And I guess really my final question that I have for you is, do you ride and what do you ride?
Yeah, I'm still an ATV guy. Ironically, I I don't ride it anymore, but I keep it kind of nostalgia. I still have my first ATV, which was a '97 Yamaha Big Bear
Oh,
350. And it was so infrequently ridden, it still has the original tires. Uh,
really?
so I just kind of have it in the shop. But for demos and stuff, I normally take out a CF Moto 1000 or an 800.
Nice.
Touring. I like the control when I'm on the ATV to be able to stand up and lean
Yep.
and move and kind of have a little more maneuverability, and it'll go in the bed of the truck and still have the travel trailer on the back.
Yep.
It just works out better for me. I can tell you a few weeks ago, and I was pleasantly surprised. We took a Daytona 250 out to the sand dunes. We got like 10 of them, so I think, shoot, we're just gonna go out and see what
Have
it's
a good
like.
time.
Little Wolfie, he's our mascot's a lot lighter than I am, so he was able to jump the machine. There's some cool pictures and videos on our website, but myself, I took it out, and you're in deep sand, which is kind of where you get the test for things. So,
Oh yeah.
for kind of a entry level sport quad, fuel injected, we're selling them for less than 3 grand out the door. That's all your Washington tax license, everything. They're a lot of fun, and I was
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised. Um, how well it did, even with me on it, and it did exceptionally well with
Oh,
little Wolfie, the
Wolfie.
mascot. Yeah,
Nice. Nice. Well, I can tell you that that is very, very, very good to hear. And it's very inspirational to hear that little Wolfie is having a good time and you also had a good time as well on the Daytona. I like that machine too. I think it's a great machine. I personally want to have some more seat time on it too. And when we're designing it and we're making it, we definitely did a lot of testing. But as far as like a lot of driving and a lot of riding, like how I'm used to doing, I haven't done it too much on that vehicle. But so yeah, I like the Daytona. It's fun, it's loud, it's throaty. It's a fun little machine. That's for sure, and
Yeah,
it's
it'll knock
priced
your hat.
right.
Yeah, if they start it and you're behind it, it'll knock your hat off if you're in a machine
Yeah,
behind it. So it's yeah,
yeah,
I mean, almost always when we fire it up on the showroom and it kind of echoes off the walls, boom, they're sold.
they're
I mean,
sold. Yeah,
I mean, it's throaty, it sounds good, it's priced right, fuel injected, which is
can't go
great.
wrong. Can't go
Yeah,
wrong.
we've
That's
been
right.
just extraordinarily happy with what you guys got.
Wonderful. It's great to hear. And again, to finish this off, I want to say thank you, Jason. Also, your whole team for supporting Denago Power Sports so much and taking care of your customers and your community so well with our products. Thank you for being a valuable dealer. And just also to sign off, you guys came on early on. Early on, you guys were under our top 30 dealers or the first 30 dealers that we signed up for Denago. So it's been really a pleasure to have Wolfpack as our dealer and to represent our brand. So again, thank you, Jason, today for having spending so much time with me and being a valuable Denago dealer. So thank you again.
I appreciate it, David, and we can grow well together.
Absolutely, we will. Thank you again and take care. Bye bye now.
All right, thank you, David.